Honorable members, I'll have some short communication which is being prepared. But yesterday I also directed that the Minister for National Treasury comes to the House to explain the issue of delays in disbursement of NGCDF and any other funds, including GAF. The Minister did write to the clerk to explain that due to earlier urgent engagements that are related to the budget process that is ongoing, he requests regrettably to appear to make that statement on Wednesday next week. And I have acceded to his request. So hold your horses, he will be here on Wednesday. What I'll probably do is direct the majority leader to compile any other questions apart from CDF that can be filed to the Minister for National Treasury, so that the question time of Wednesday next week, the 16th of April, is reserved for him, not just to talk about NGCDF, but any other related questions filed by honorable members. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader. Silvanos.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, in this afternoon sitting. The reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2024 and the certificates therein in respect of Bumbe Technical Training Institute, Bungoma North Technical and Vocational College, Bunyala Technical and Vocational College, Kenya Seed Company Limited and its subsidiaries, Kenya Seed Company Rwanda Limited, Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Services, Kenya Water Institute, Kenyatta International Convention Center, Kerio Valley Development Authority, Kibo Seed Company Limited, Lake Victoria South Water Works Development Agency, National Communication Secretariat, National Council for Population Development, National Environment Complaints Committee, National Industrial Training Authority, Nuclear Power Energy Agency Staff Car and Mortgage Loan Scheme Fund, People's Trust Party, Salaries and Remuneration Commission, Simlo Seeds Company Kenya Limited, Simlo Seeds Company Uganda or U Limited, South Nyanza Sugar Company Limited, State Department for Forestry, State Department for Medical Services, State Department for Public Health and Professional Standards, State Department for Sports, State Department for Tourism, State Department for Water and Sanitation, Statement of Outstanding Obligations guaranteed by the Government of Kenya, Tobacco Control Board, and Water Resource Authority. I beg to lay, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Silvanos. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Labor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 9th April 2025. Report of the Departmental Committee on Labor on the vetting of the Dr. Jane Kere Ibunya as nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development.
Thank you. Mwenyekiti Kamati ya Utangamano na Kikanda.
Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba kuwasilisha waraka ifuatayo kwenye meza ya Bunge la Taifa leo, Jumatano tarehe 9 Aprili mwaka wa 2025. Ripoti ya Kamati ya Utangamano wa Kikanda kuhusu ukaguzi wa asasi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Shukran.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee, Trade, Industry and Cooperatives.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, the 9th of April, 2025, as a report on the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives on the vetting of Ms. Regina Akoth Ombam for the appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Trade. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 9th April 2025. Report of the Departmental Committee on Health on the vetting of Dr. Oluga Frederick Ouma, OGW, nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services, Ministry of Health. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chair, Departmental Committee on Labor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to give a notice of the following motion. That taking into consideration the finding of the Departmental Committee on Labor in its report on the vetting of nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th April 2025, and pursuant to the provision of Article 155, Sub-Article 3B of the Constitution, approves the appointment of Dr. Jane Kere Ibunya as the Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to give a notice of motion on appointment of Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services. That taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Health in its report on the vetting of nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th, 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 155(3)(b) of the Constitution, approved the appointment of Dr. Oluga Frederick Ouma, OGW, as the Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services, Ministry of Health. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Clerk, you can go back to order number 2.
Order number 2, communication from the Chair.
Nyamita, take the nearest seat. Honorable members, I want to give a short communication on an incident of violent altercation between a sitting member and a former member of Parliament. Honorable members, I wish to inform the House that I'm in receipt of an incident report from the Chief Sergeant at Arms through the Clerk of the National Assembly regarding a violent altercation that occurred within the precincts of Parliament yesterday, Tuesday, 8th April 2025. The altercation, which is captured in a video in circulation, involved the Honorable Umulkhair Harun Mohammed MP, a member of this House, and the Honorable Iman Falhada Deko MP, former Senator and current member of the East African Legislative Assembly. Also involved was a visitor whom I'm notified was a visitor to the Honorable Falhada. Honourable members, the Honourable Falhada was within Parliament on courtesy of the honour for Parliament to accord former members of Parliament and members of the IALA the privilege to have unhindered access to Parliament and access certain facilities reserved for sitting members, including the gym. Honourable members, continued enjoyment of this privilege by non-sitting members requires the benefiting members conduct themselves in decorous manner while within Parliament. It is therefore regrettable that having been accorded such privileges, the Honourable Falhada conducted herself in an undignified manner. Honourable members, having reviewed the video and incident report, it's clear that the violent altercation between the Honourable Umulkhair MP and Honourable Falhada casts Parliament in bad light and is likely to reflect adversely on the dignity or integrity of Parliament and indeed the sanctity of the precincts of Parliament. Ordinarily, order, Karemba. Order. Ordinarily, honourable members, such a matter would merit referral to the Committee of Powers and Privileges for consideration and recommendation of appropriate action. Indeed, several members keen on guarding the dignity of Parliament and its precincts have already approached me, requesting that I invoke the provisions of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6, and cause the incident to be considered by the Committee of Powers and Privileges. However, honourable members, given that the incident involved a sitting member and a former member, I'm inclined to first accord the nominated member, Honourable Mulher, the opportunity to explain herself and whatever explanation she gives, also to apologize to the House for the unbecoming conduct. With respect to Honourable Falhada, the Yala Member of Parliament, I note that she does not have a platform to address the House on the floor of this House. In this regard, I direct that the member explains herself to the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Chairperson of the Parliamentary Service Commission in writing by 5 p.m. on Monday, 14th April 2025. In the meantime, Honourable Falhada is forthwith precluded from accessing the precincts of Parliament, Parliament buildings and facilities for a period of 90 days, save on the day and time when she will deliver her written explanation to the Speaker, in which case she must be escorted by a Sergeant at Arms. Honourable members, upon reviewing the response by the Honourable Falhada, I'll guide the House accordingly on any further or other action that can be taken not only on her but also on the Honourable Umulkhair, based on the apologies that I have directed them to tender. Having said that, honourable members, I shudder that at the fact that the recording of the video of the altercation between the two honourable members is claimed to have been done by a sitting member of this House. Should the claim be ascertained, it will also attract the sanctions under Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6. Nonetheless, I hasten to caution members to resist the temptation of falling into such abhorrent behavior. Honourable members, I've told you before, sitting in my chamber, I've watched some members here filming the proceedings of this House. And I did call one member and cautioned him because the Speaker then on the chair did not notice. Let's avoid this kind of unhelpful behavior. I wish to remind all honourable members that rule number 4 of the Speaker's rules places the responsibility of the conduct of a visitor on the member who invites such a visitor to Parliament. So when you bring in any visitor, lawyers will know there is a doctrine called Raylands versus Fletcher. Automatically applies that if you collect and keep any dangerous animal, substance, or material, and such material, animal, or substance harms people, you are directly responsible for any such harm. I therefore request members to assist in pardon? It's called the Doctrine of Raylands versus Fletcher. I therefore request members to assist in enforcing the Speaker's orders necessary for decorous conduct within the precincts of Parliament and the facilities accessible to visitors. Honourable members, I now direct the Honourable nominated member, the Honourable Mulher Harun Mohammed, to proceed to explain herself to the House and tender an apology in the manner set out by the practice of this House. Honourable members, as she comes to do so, I want to appraise the House that this kind of behavior is not new to this Parliament. In 1975, the late Honourable Jean-Marie Seroney and Joseph Martin Shikuku were arrested in the presence of Parliament and locked up. In 1980, the then Assistant Minister for Health and Kirinyaga member, James Njiru, had a violent altercation with one Nahashon Juno in the private members' rooms. In January 2000, the Honorable David Mwenje of Embakasi had a violent altercation with the then MP from Bita, the Honorable Otieno Kajwang. In January 2001, the Honorable Ochila Ayako, then member for Rongo, had a violent altercation with Shem Ochodo in this House. On July 28th, 1999, the Honorable David Murade had a violent altercation with the Honorable Stephen Dicho, trading blows in the presence of Parliament. In 1997, the Honorable Otieno Kopio punched an assistant minister called Joseph Misoi in the presence of this Parliament. This was a confrontation in presence of a member called Mukhisa Kitui. In 1980, the Honorable Justus Oletipis violently attacked the Honorable Robert Matano with a rungu in the presence of this Parliament. In 2006, again the Honorable Mwenje and the member for Makadara, Honorable Ruben Dolo, had a confrontation in Parliament. In 2010, the Honorable Lotodo and an Honorable Lagat fought at the bar of this Parliament, and many others. So, Honorable Mulher, you now join the ignominious group of those, and the first woman to be involved in a violent altercation in Parliament. Of course, I have skipped Honorable Babo Wino and Jaguar had a violent confrontation and altercation in this House. I urge you, honorable members, you are called honorable because you are people of honor. And this honor is not yours. It is the honor of the people who send you here. So you carry that decorum and dignity not for yourself, but for the people who gave you the privilege out of many others to come to this Parliament to represent them. Thank you. Yes, Mbai, you want to fight? It's an honorable fight. Yes, Umulher, you will hear her in silence. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42E, I rise to make a personal statement regarding the unfortunate incident that occurred yesterday within the precincts of Parliament and is now unfortunately in public circulation. Honorable Speaker, yesterday afternoon on my way to the mosque, to make my Salah prayers, I met the member for Iyala and former nominated Senator, Honorable Iman Falhada, a colleague in this House, met me and the Honorable Falhada and requested us to have a talk and catch up as we took an afternoon cup of tea. During our conversation, I inquired from Honorable Falhada about incidences where she had personally attacked me and abused me in public forums and social media, as well as extending her verbal insults to my extended family. I was seeking audience with her to find a truth, not anticipating that she would throw a cup of tea at me, an incident that blindsided me. Honorable Speaker, however, at the spur of the moment, what was to be a normal conversation turned ugly. Honorable Falhada publicly attacked me, and it took the intervention of other persons to stop her, hence the unfortunate incident yesterday afternoon. I wish to sincerely apologize to this House and the public for the incident and regret yesterday's events. Honorable Speaker, in my 28 years of life, I have never been involved in any fight, and I feel bad for what happened yesterday as a member of this House and as a Muslim woman. I wish to go on record that I hold the dignity of this House and the public in high esteem, and I apologize and regret yesterday's unfortunate incident. I apologize to my aggressor, Honorable Falhada, for the uncalled attack against myself and my family. My oath of office that I took behooves me to walk away, even when justified to respond. Honorable Speaker, I also wish to thank my colleagues and everyone who called me after the incident and offered words of guidance and wisdom. I'm forever grateful, and I will hold your close words of guidance, and I take lessons of yesterday's incidents in stride. Honorable Speaker, allow me to also express disappointment by those who took advantage of the unfortunate incident and decided to record and share with the public one of my lowest moments in life, and especially as a woman. Low moments are inevitable for every human being under the sun, and mine was yesterday. This reality calls upon us to extend arms and rather, This reality calls upon us to extend arms of embrace rather than of public humiliation. I, however, let this pass and forgive anyone who may have taken advantage of the situation. Honorable Speaker, finally allow me to reiterate my commitment to upholding the dignity of this House and to continue discharging my duties in accordance with my oath of office. I once again tender my unreserved apology to this House and the public for the unfortunate incident. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and God bless.
Thank you, Honorable Mulher. I also confirm that immediately after the incident, about 1 hour thereafter, the Honorable Mulher sent to the Speaker a message of regret and apology for the indignity visited on the House of Parliament with that incident. Thank you, Honorable Mulher. Once I hear from Falhada and we get a full investigation report, you still are not off the hook. Both you and whoever did the recording will get some further directions. I don't want to open debate on this, members. Yeah? Order, honorable members, you know, if I give you an opportunity to speak, you are going to discuss the conduct of the person of Honorable Mulher without a substantive motion, which is against standing orders. Whatever sympathies you have for her or against her, quietly go to her and tell her so that she can feel your empathy. But to allow you to comment, I will not, because it will offend standing orders. Both Falhada is an honorable member of an institution that is part of our parliamentary setup in the region, and she's elected by this house to go to Iyala. So she enjoys that privilege. So does Honorable Umulher. The issue of recording is being investigated by parliamentary police and the sergeant at arms. I don't want to have any presumptions as to who it was. Once the report comes, you'll get communication. On the same issue, something different. If you are captured in that video, depending on what you are doing, you will also be punished. There is a criminal offense called aiding and abetting the commission of a crime. Yes. So you are either aiding or abetting. Yes. Yes, Umulher? I thought you are done.
No. Speaker, I need to mention that I am short-sighted, so when I was in the middle of the scuffle, I noticed Honorable Mpuri was recording the video. And immediately after the incident, I approached him and asked him not to release the video because he was the only person recording. So I wonder what his intention was, and I wonder if this was a targeted attack and if he was part of the incident, because the other lady was an outsider from Parliament. I did not anticipate a fight. Honorable Speaker, if you saw the video, I was in a white dress. Somebody in white does not come to fight. And the lady is known to be...
There is no scientific evidence to that.
Mr. Speaker, it is in the doctrines of the female dressing that we wear white to show peace. So I want to let the House know that Honorable Mpuri is the one who recorded the clip.
I can tell you, Umulher, that in the last parliament, in the 12th parliament, we were violently attacked in that gallery by the member for Thika, Alice Nganga, and she was dressed in white. So your statement is not
Mr. Speaker, in
factual.
Islam, white means a different message.
So
but I saw him record it, and I really want to ask him why he did that, because he was the only person who was...
Don't ask him, leave him to the Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
We'll beat him, then we'll bring
We will deal with it once the investigations are over. Commissioner Makau, what is it? Not on this matter.
Indeed, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think you've really ruled accordingly, but I want to inform the House. Yesterday, when I had lunch, I was seated next to the honorable member of Raleigh, one Honorable Kaangara. And I think, Mr. Speaker, let me say you've ruled very well, because if we escalate this matter, it will still go to the public. And it is our duty to protect this parliament by all means. I request, Mr. Speaker, as you have guided, that we leave this matter here, because even me, as a member of the PSC, I witnessed and I saw who recorded. And I thought, because he's an experienced member of parliament, he will not release it to protect the image of this parliament. So I think, Mr.
Assist
Speaker,
to the investigations by recording a statement at the Parliament Police.
Chairman, Mr. Speaker, you know I'm the chairman security, so I think it will be my rightful duty to do that.
Absolutely.
I
Go
thank
ahead
you.
and do
Thank
so.
you. Okay.
On a light note, Honorable Nyikal tells me that when Honorable Njuno and Njiru violently fought here, they ended up being treated by him at the ICU at the Kenyatta Hospital. So don't go that route, honorable members. If you are unable to argue with each other, to reason with each other, leave the scene and wait for another day. Next order. Honorable members, we have a supplementary order paper in place that we'll use. Let's go back to order number 6. I'm told the Vice Chair of Trade, the Chair is here to give a notice of motion. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that taking into consideration the finding of the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives in the report on the vetting of nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Trade, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th April 2025, and pursuant to the provision of the Article 155(3)(b) of the Constitution, approves the appointment of Ms. Regina Akoth Ombam as Principal Secretary, State Department for Trade. Thank you.
In Mayaka.
Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba kutoa arifa ya hoja ifuatayo kwamba Bunge la Taifa liridhie ripoti ya kamati ya utangamano wa kikanda kuhusu ziara ya ukaguzi kwa taasisi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wakati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano ya Tanzania iliyowasilishwa kwenye meza ya Bunge Jumatano tarehe 9 Aprili mwaka wa 2025. Shukran.
Thank you. Many of you should try and emulate that. You know, Swahili and English enjoy equal status under our Constitution. Enda kwa library utafute kamusi ya Kiswahili. Itakusaidia. Next order. Skip. Yes, Janet.
Mr. Speaker, I seek your indulgence on a matter, Mr. Speaker, of procedure. Mr. Speaker, you see, this House is a legislative House. And Mr. Speaker, the process of legislation begins when a bill is tabled for the first reading. And when a bill has not appeared on the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker, is no longer part of the process of this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and even the standing orders prohibit anticipation of debate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are very, very important and sensitive bills that come to this House. Some which are very, very sensitive in nature and very important for the country. And those kind of bills, Mr. Speaker, require first the executive to prepare it in their form and shape, and then it comes to Parliament, and that's why certain bills, there's extensive public participation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I saw somewhere yesterday, I wanted to seek the attention of the Finance Committee and Planning Chair, Mr. Speaker, speaking on the bill the finance bill, Mr. Speaker, that we're expecting. That, Mr. Speaker, if the National Executive will not be able to raise enough revenues, the Chair was announcing that we may be forced to increase taxes, Mr. Speaker. I don't know whether it was in the Citizen News, Mr. Speaker. I don't know whether that information is factual, Mr. Speaker, because I want to ask, Mr. Speaker, it is not the business of this House to increase any tax. It is the business of Treasury, Mr. Speaker. We are here to safeguard the interest of the public, Mr. Speaker. And finance bill does not belong to Parliament, Mr. Speaker. For the record, finance bill belongs to the National Executive through the Treasury, Mr. Speaker. And the owner of the finance bill is the Minister for Treasury, Mr. Speaker, in charge of Treasury. So, Mr. Speaker, this Parliament has suffered enough for the last 2 years by carrying burden for the Executive, Mr. Speaker. We are not members of the Executive. We are a legislative arm of government. And our work is very clear in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, that we are supposed to do legislation, oversight, and representation. I want to ask my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, let us desist from defending and protecting the work of the Executive in a manner that's not legislative. Let us wait until the Executive brings their ideas and their proposals to the floor of this House. when we are going to have our say and when we are going to say whether we agree with them or we disagree with them, Mr. Speaker. And I want to ask the committee chairs, please, let us not hold brief for the executive. Let us allow the executive to do their work. Because if you hold a brief for the executive, you will be speaking on behalf of the full house. And every member here is expected to take responsibility. Now I'm seeing a debate ensuing in public that there is, finance bill is like this. We don't have any finance bill. And the public needs to be informed that finance bill comes towards the end of the budgetary process. I'm happy the majority leaders arrived. And the finance bill comes, we are supposed to pass the finance bill by 30th of June. So it can come on 26th of June, 25th of June, 1st of June. As of today, the public is being fed with lies. That there is taxation on trees, taxation on oxygen. There is no finance bill in this house. I don't think we have seen any clause of any finance bill before this house, Mr. Speaker, with your approval. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I'm saying, please, we have interest of the public to protect as a house, and we have legislations to do. Let us desist from commenting in a manner that we think we are helping the executive when we are destroying things in Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Parliament has the final say on any legislation. So let the executive bring what they want to bring. They can even say they want to tax mountains. It is us who will deny them that right. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, now final conclusion is that, please, what I saw yesterday, whether it's factual, I am not sure. The chairman is here, he can agree with us. But this is what we suffered last time. Because, Mr. Speaker, last finance bill, through the leadership of the majority leader, we ended up withdrawing all the offensive clauses of the finance bill as a house. But the lies went ahead of us. And by the time the truth arrived, people were invading Parliament. So this time, we want to do things in a manner that is in tandem with what the House of Parliament is expected of, by engaging the public, and we don't expect any taxation at all, because why should Kenyans be taxed more than this? So, but those people who are propagating lies, those people who are confusing Kenyans, I don't want to name names here. I know some senior members of the society who are lying to Kenyans that there is a finance bill. There is no finance bill before this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader. Hold your horses.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And let me first thank the Leader of Minority for having raised this issue. And indeed, I had a discussion on WhatsApp last night, very late at night. I think it was about 1:45 a.m. with the Leader of Minority over this issue, when I saw his text and I noticed he had not slept. And we were worried, Honorable Speaker, that the same thing that happened last year is likely to happen this year if we do not stem this thing in the bud as early as now. Because as the Leader of Minority says, it is true. There are people who are propagating the lie that there is already a finance bill in the House with all manner of taxes. And you know, Honorable Speaker, where I come from, there's a saying that goes that otakanywereire do ekerita. The direct translation of that is the English saying that he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches the most. It is members of this house who can tell you where it pinches the most when we allow disinformation, misinformation to take root, and propaganda, Honorable Speaker. And it is sad, Honorable Speaker, as the Leader of Minority has said, that it is the people who ought to know better who are propagating these lies. People who have even served in this house as members of Parliament. And you see them all over the media alleging all manner of taxation that is not before the House. I don't know whether they work in Treasury to know what Treasury is going to bring. The National Treasury is even yet to table the estimates for the next financial year that will then inform what needs to be financed. Because a finance bill is a consequence of what is to be expended by government, then government decides this is how we intend to raise revenue. And that is why is a statement on revenue-raising measures that the Cabinet Secretary comes to read in, at the beginning of June. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, is just to implore on Kenyans. One, not to believe the lies. Two, to fact-check. Honorable Speaker, last year, 2024, Kenyans were fed with all manner of disinformation, falsehoods on what was contained in the finance bill. The few offensive clauses that were there in the finance bill, a week or 2 weeks before consideration of that finance bill in this House, none other than the chair of the Finance Committee informed the country of all the retinue of amendments that were being proposed to deal with those things that Kenyans considered offensive, like taxation on bread. You remember the taxation on motor vehicles, and all those things were removed. But Kenyans ended up saying, reject, do not amend. Honorable Speaker, if this House is told to reject every law and not to amend, then we have no business having a parliament in this country. Because legislation or the legislative process begins with legislative proposals, which are then amended as informed by Kenyans during public participation. Honorable Speaker, I do not need to belabor what happened last year, and we need not go to that pain, back to that pain. But we must inform Kenyans that we are in an era of disinformation and misinformation, especially on social media. But unfortunately, many of our colleagues in the fourth estate also pick up from that and report what is being reported on social media as lies as if it is truth. And Honorable Speaker, the fourth estate has a greater responsibility to inform Kenyans on the truth more than anybody else, Honorable Speaker. What we say on this floor, Honorable Speaker, is on record. If I lie, even 100 years from today, Kenyans will get to know whether myself or the Honorable Junet lied. So when the Honorable Junet says there is no finance bill, there is none as we speak. And when the finance bill is proposed and it comes before the House, it will not be a secret. It will be published. And Honorable Speaker, I want to implore and thank the clerk's office. When we did the tax amendment laws last year, after the fall of the finance bill, we did the business laws 1 and 2, the tax procedures amendment bill of 2024, and the tax amendment laws of 2024. When we did that, Honorable Speaker, we allowed the National Treasury to first go out and inform Kenyans what they intended to do and get the views of Kenyans. We then did a very elaborate public participation through the leadership of the Finance and National Planning Committee under the leadership of Chairman Kimani Kuria. And eventually we were able to pass those laws on the 4th of December last year without incidents. Honorable Speaker, I have said before, those 4 pieces of legislation were 70% of what was contained in the finance bill. Yet they passed without incidents. 70%. Therefore, if the 2024 finance bill was as offensive as those who propagated the campaign of disinformation did, then the 4 finance laws, the 4 laws that we passed in December, would be hurting Kenyans today, but they are not.
Wind up.
Part of the benefits, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, was the tax waivers that Kenyans are enjoying today. Tax waivers that they were denied in June of 2024 through the finance bill, but they had to wait until December 27th for those tax amendment laws to become effective, for them to enjoy the tax waivers. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, let me support what the Honorable Junet has said and implore on Kenyans to fact check. When bills are published, please make a point of visiting the parliamentary website. It will have bills. Those bills have, at the back of every bill, has objects of a bill. If you do not understand what is in the bill, just go to the last page and read the objects of a bill, and you'll be able to see what is intended to be changed by that particular legislative proposal. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Kimani, I will not open debate on this. You are the chair of the committee.
Yes.
And I want to speak from the authority of the chair that I have not approved any finance bill to come to this house. Neither have I approved any request for taxation measures to be brought to this house for your debate, approval, or rejection. Yes, Kimani?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. From the other side, I would like to thank my leader, minority leader, for raising this at the floor of the House. The incident, Honourable Speaker, the leader of minority is speaking to is a show on NTV called Fixing the Nation. And I must congratulate Nation Media Group for that particular discussion. What they're trying to do and what the show was trying to do to explain to Kenyans, what is the budget-making process? Where do we start? Discussion from the budget outlook paper when it comes out, to the budget policy statement, to the estimates, to if there is a finance bill. Mine was civic education to the country. And you follow the entire conversation. It was a whole 2 hours discussion. It was a very engaging discussion on how even Kenyans, if Kenyans want to have their views heard, how they need to communicate when those particular matters come, Honourable Speaker. The biggest challenge you have in this country, unfortunately, even the most educated that you think would want to read and verify statements, they do not. And unfortunately, we are reduced to very short clips. And that's why you find TikTok is now the most popular social media platform that are only 1 second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds long. And therefore, the misinformation comes on the Speaker. For the last 3 days, let me inform this House. Reject Finance Bill 2025 has been trending on X between number 3 and number 8. Until the whole discussion came. In fact, I wondered, am I not the chair of Finance Committee? Because I would have seen the finance bill that people are talking about. Talking about all manner of misinformation, including that there is in the Finance Bill of 2025, there is a tax for newborn children called Taifa something, Honourable Speaker. And unfortunately, people, I follow the comments of some of these people, you go to their accounts, you think they are distinguished scholars. And they are the ones spreading that propaganda, Honourable Speaker. I will be the least person to be on the defensive for such proposals before they come through to the floor of the House. Because when the decision comes, I have an influence with my committee on the final decision on this particular proposal. And therefore, I'm very careful in my communication. Honourable Speaker, it's unfortunate. Some of us paid the ultimate price of vast misinformation. I lived away from home for a long time because of fear of attack from members of the public. I lost personal properties. And therefore, this misinformation by these people should stop. And I don't know what we need to do, Honourable Speaker, because people, they knowingly, and I say unfortunately knowingly, misinform the members of the public on this particular matter, Honourable Speaker. And I urge this House, when debate comes to this House also, despite our political divide, right now we're in broad-based arrangement. We're in agreement on many things. We don't know how it will be before we go to the next election. Even when we are in different political orientation, let us also not misinform the public just for political gain, Honourable Speaker. When you are approving those amendments, Honourable Speaker, the minority side then said reject, not amend. Even when they knew for sure that those proposals were good. Honourable Speaker, we will go, for example, to debates in some of these media stations, this particular proposal, Honourable Speaker, and on break time I will ask the person I'm debating it, why are you saying this and you know it's true? And then they tell me it's politics. Let us not play politics with misinformation. It can be very dear, it can be very helpful, and it can lead to serious destruction that can almost be irredeemable. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. I want to repeat, there are no tax proposals before this House. There's no finance bill either before the Speaker for approval or before this House. And any misinformation, disinformation, or propaganda should desist forthwith, because we are raising unhelpful tensions for nothing. Let's leave it there. Clerk, call out order number 8. We put the question before we go to questions and statements. And Majority Whip, if you can check if the minister listed to answer questions is in the House. You can cause him to come to the chamber.
Order number 8, the Excise Duty Amendment Bill National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2025, second reading. Question to be put.
Honourable members on their feet, take your seats. Honourable members, I'll now put the question at order number 8, and I confirm we have quorum to vote. That the Excise Duty Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2025 be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Excise Duty Act and for connected purposes. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Thank you. Go to order number 9.
Order number 9, the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the additional allocations to county governments for the 2024-2025 financial year, the responsibilities of national government and county governments pursuant to such allocations and for connected purposes.
Thank you. Majority Leader Kimani, Chairman of Finance, has asked me to clarify. I meant there is no finance bill that the Speaker has approved to come to this House. Okay, Kimani? Anything else you are doing is not in question. What was publicized is that there's a finance bill that is taxing trees, taxing all manner of things, taxing goats, taxing cows. We know very well there's no such thing before this House. Go back to order number 7.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honourable members, the CS for Education is in the House. Honourable CS, you are welcome to Parliament. To once again, I think this is your second interaction with the House. In answering questions, try and answer questions as concisely and precisely as you can. Honourable members who have questions, I'll allow the questioner and one, maximum 2 joyriders so that we can make progress in the interest of time. Honourable Majority Leader, we were supposed to have the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury to come and speak to us. I've already told the House he will be here on Wednesday, so you can accumulate any other issues directed at the Treasury so that he can be able, as he talks about CDF disbursements, to answer any other questions relating to finance on Wednesday. Question number 001 of 2025, Abdi Shurie. Member for Balabala.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary for Education, 1, explain why students enrolled at the Kenya Medical Training College, KMTC, are excluded from receiving Higher Education Loans Board support, while students in other public institutions such as technical training institutions are eligible beneficiaries? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary state the measures put in place by the Ministry to ensure such discrimination is abolished? 3, could the Cabinet Secretary specify the legal provisions or government policies being applied by the Ministry to justify such denial of help support to KMTC students? I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for inviting me. Mr. Speaker, I request to respond to the 3 questions as follows together. The Higher Education Loans Board currently funds students in universities and technical and vocational education and training institutions under the Ministry of Education. Help is able to fund these students because it is provided with a budget to do so through the Ministry of Education. The Kenya Medical Training College is under the Ministry of Health. Help is ready and available to provide funding to students in KMTCs once it is supported with the necessary budget by this House through the Ministry of Health. Indeed, when resources were availed to help did provide support to KMTC students. This happened, for example, in financial year 2013-2014, when there was a partnership with USAID, and in the year 2022-2023, when the Ministry of Health provided resources to help. May I assure the House, therefore, that help is committed to support all eligible college and university students in pursuit of their tertiary education without any discrimination. We look forward to working with this Honourable House to explore the possibilities of enhancing the funding to cover the yet-to-be-covered institutions in our tertiary education space. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I submit.
You are satisfied? If you are, you don't have to
Honourable
ask
Speaker, I'm not satisfied.
Go ahead.
The reason is when he tells me, I think what was been put in the kitty of help should cater for all students irrespective of under what ministry the institutions fall. Because by saying enhancing the budget, then they will be able to give others, the KMTC students, support. Doesn't make sense, to be very honest. So I think what will happen is the kitty should cater for all students irrespective of whichever institutions they are studying at. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Dr. Bukose.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you, CS, for the response. But the response is unsatisfactory because since COOPS took over the admission of KMTC students, why should KMTC students be excluded from accessing HELP through the normal education budget that is given to HELP, such that now you have to ask them to get a budget within the Ministry of Health? Why should that happen? Because they are both of them, even those in the TTI, Technical Training Institutes, or in diploma courses, they all access HELP. So why should the KMTC, who are admitted through the same portal of COOPS, be excluded?
Dr. Nyekal. Give this one next to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the answer is actually inadequate. Why is it that the Ministry of Health had to provide money to help so that the students can get help? Yet, with other colleges, no other persons give the money. The same, why did the students from KMTC need to get money from USAID to support them? And further, how is this linked to COOPS, the Kenya Central Colleges and Universities placement? Because there is an issue, a legal issue, of whether students in KMTC should be admitted through COOPS or through KMTC itself. And this is actually related to this denial. So I think we are not getting the full information that we require for this matter, which also links to the Commission of University Education. And that's where the legal issue is, because the Commission of University Education then demanded that this also gets, COOPS also admits these students. So there's more we need to know on this, Mr. Speaker.
It is very simple. KMTC students are students like any others. HELP resources are public resources appropriated by this House. Can you take steps to ensure that KMTC students also access HELP financial facilities
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members. It is true that KMTC students are students like any other in the country, and it is true that HELP, as an institution that funds students, should be able to fund all of them. I think there is an issue of misalignment with the domiciling of KMTC under certain terms in the Ministry of Health that leads to this discrepancy. So we will work with the Ministry of Health to align that aspect so that we can get resources to help in order to support the KMTC students. I think the alignment is what is the key with respect to funding the students in KMTC, because we've already aligned the issue relating to placement. COOPS places all the students. So we should extend that further to ensure that funding is also covered under HELP in order for our students to be funded in KMTC. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's not just enough to say that we shall be aligned, because we already have students of KMTC within colleges. I think the best answer this Cabinet Secretary can give this House is how soon can that undertaking be done? Because we need timelines so that this is dispensed with.
We'll make progress. I'll direct the chair of Health Committee and the chair of Education. Yes, Wanjala, what is it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is not only KMTC that are suffering out of this. Students going to study education in universities are paid by HELP. How about those who are in colleges who are also not being paid by HELP? They also need to be assisted. Other than that, it will be discrimination. I want to minister to, as they ensure that KMTC is aligned, could he also confirm that the teachers in colleges will also be aligned?
Point noted. I was directing the chair Health, the chair Education, to arrange and meet the minister and bring a report to this House in 2 weeks on the steps taken to ensure that KMTC students access HELP loan facilities and any other tertiary institution students, because these are public resources and these are deserving cases. Next, question 018 of 2025, Honorable Umulher Kazim.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I would like to ask...
Which chair are you addressing?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Honorable Speaker. You know, Mr. Speaker, I'm always used to you chairing us in House Business Committee, so I'm always thinking when I see the Speaker is chairing House Business. I'm sorry for that. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain why it has taken inordinately long to integrate Duxi and Madrasa classes in primary and secondary schools, yet the provisions of Section 95(2)(e) of the Basic Education Act envision operationalization of such programs to enhance access to education by all students. 2, to clarify whether the lack of integration of Duxi and Madrasa learning programs in the formal education, which has led to a high rate of children being out of school. 3, state the measures in place to ensure integration of Duxi and Madrasa learning programs, including steps taken to ensure the accessibility of such programs to all schools in the country. Number 4, provide timelines for the operationalization of Duxi and Madrasa learning programs in schools. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Tandaza.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Is the Honorable Member in order to skip question 1 in the order paper and therefore rearrange to the extent that when he's on question 5, he says it's question 4? She has not read Roman 1 as stipulated in the order paper. Thank you. No, that's why she was saying the last question was saying it's 4 instead of 5 because she never got Roman 1.
But she started with Roman 1. I was following.
Then how did she end with the 5 being question 4? If she started with that one. Thank you, Speaker.
That question, Tandaza, has only 4 limbs. Roman 1, 2, 3, and 4. Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is indeed correct that Section 95, subsection 2E of the Basic Education Act 2013 provides for regulations for the integration.
Sorry, Honorable Tandaza, I'm told you are looking at the earlier order paper. We have a supplementary order paper where there is proper sequencing. Minister, proceed.
So it is indeed correct, Mr. Speaker, that Section 95, subsection 2E of the Basic Education Act 2013 provides for regulations for the integration of the madrasa, duksi, and pastoral programs of instructions into the formal education system as appropriate to improve access and retention. As a ministry, we recognize the critical role that duksi and madrasa learning programs play in education of the young learners of the Islamic faith. The integration of duksi and madrasa programs is not only a constitutional and statutory obligation, but also a necessary requirement to achieve equity, inclusion, and cultural respect in the delivery of education. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, we are actively taking steps to ensure that integration of duksi and madrasa in our formal education system. The first key step was anchoring this in the strategic plan. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, the National Education Sector Strategic Plan 2023-2027 provides for the development of a duksi and madrasa policy and guidelines
Hold
to ensure...
on, Minister. Yes, Umulher.
Honorable Speaker, I cannot hear the good CS because there's a lot of murmuring and a lot of meetings around here.
Order, members. Members on their feet, take your seats. The illegal Kamkunji in front of the clerk's table, can you be disbanded? Disband that Kamkunji. And Sergeant, can you improve the volume of the microphone of the minister? Go on, Minister.
As we speak, Mr. Speaker, the National Education Sector Strategic Plan 2023 to 2027 provides for the development of a duksi and madrasa policy and guidelines to ensure seamless implementation of these learning programs. The Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development is currently finalizing a framework that aligns these programs with the national competency-based curriculum while ensuring that the spiritual needs of learners are respected. We have held constructive consultations with Muslim religious leaders, education experts, county education boards, and civil society actors to ensure cultural and religious relevance in the design of this integration process. The involvement of this broad range of stakeholders is intended to ensure that the integration is relevant from a religious and cultural standpoint and that it has wide acceptance. There have been challenges in efforts to implement the duksi and madrasa learning programs. These challenges include the following. 1, the absence of standardized curriculum, since the religious learning curricula in duksi and madrasa schools vary widely in content and methodology, including language, which complicates harmonization with the national curriculum. Many duksi and madrasa instructors have not undergone formal teacher training recognized by the Teacher Service Commission. This limits their eligibility for deployment in public schools due to lack of certified religious educators. Most duksi and madrasa institutions operate informally and lack adequate facilities for integration with formal school settings, particularly in the ASAL counties like Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa. However, as I've stated, we are working with stakeholders to address these challenges and to set the stage for the integration of these learning programs. Subsection 2 of that question, or Roman 2 of that question, Mr. Speaker, the ministry is keen on implementing the policy of 100% transition across all levels of basic education, Article 53 of the Constitution provides that every child has a right to free and compulsory basic education. The government is implementing the 100% transition policy in basic education that cuts across all levels of education from pre-primary to secondary schools. The government implements a multi-agency strategy to enhance the transition process across basic education levels. This includes annual enrollment campaigns with the support of the National Government Administration Office. For the ASAL areas, the ministry also has other strategies geared towards promoting retention and transition in basic education. These include the provision of school meals to learners and the establishment of low-cost boarding schools to retain learners in school. The integration of madrasa and Duksi learning programs in the formal education framework will therefore complement the other existing strategies for ensuring that all eligible children have access to basic education. Question Roman 3, Mr. Speaker. The ministry has already initiated several strategies to ensure effective integration of Duksi and madrasa programs. A structured Islamic religious education curriculum has been developed for use in Duksi and madrasa settings under the competency-based curriculum. Pilot schools in several counties, including Lamu and Garissa, are currently testing the integration model. In Lamu, for example, the schools are the Bilal Integrated Academy and the Afarsi Muslim Academy. In Garissa, the schools that are piloting include Madrasafu Manar Islamic and Madrasaful Tamkin. The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Teacher Service Commission and the Institute of Special Education, has trained over 300 instructors from Duksi and madrasa backgrounds. This training is aimed at equipping the instructors to qualify for recognition and deployment to formal institutions through the recognition of prior learning. We are also in the process of developing a policy and guidelines for Duksi and madrasa. The policy is expected to operationalize the integration of Duksi and madrasa to the formal education system. The policy and guidelines are undergoing legal review, followed by public participation before being launched and implemented. And question subsection 4, Mr. Speaker, the integration of Duksi and madrasa learning programs in both primary and secondary schools will be progressive, expected to achieve national implementation by 2029. The table below, there's a table that we put in our written answer. The table below outlines the planned activities and timelines for implementation of the Duksi Madrasa program. For example, the policy and framework finalization is expected to be done in Q3 and Q4 of 2025. The pilot phase will be Q1 and Q2 of 2026. Evaluation and scaling will be Q3 of 2026 and Q1 of 2027. And full national implementation will be between 2027 and 2029. I submit.
Omolheri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, part of that act, a section of the act, the pastoral program of instruction has already been operationalized. And I just want to hear, give us the timelines, the exact timelines, tafadhali. Honorable CS. Honorable Speaker, when you speak about Northeastern, we have close to 900,000 children out of school because they've been affected by the same issue I'm raising here on the Duksi and Madrasa. Mandera alone is 280,000 children who are out of school. And you know, the Honorable CS spoke about the retention, the attraction and retention strategies of children into schools. I just want to ask him, 280,000 students is a big number, and it's actually a disaster in waiting if this issue is not addressed as soon as possible. Please tell us the exact time you think this will be implemented. Thank you very much.
Minister, hold there. Russell.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, listening to the questionnaire and the Minister, I think what the Honorable Member from Mandera is asking, can Madarasa and Duksi become part of formal education in Kenya? And considering that Madarasa and Duksi are part of formal Islamic education, the minister has been really struggling to tell us whether it can actually form part of our formal education, particularly in the basic education in Kenya. So for that reason, let him explain, is it possible for that to happen? And he's just saying about Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa. But madrasas are all over, wherever the Muslim communities live in Kenya. Maybe there are more in other areas. So for that reason, is it possible, Mr. Minister, for this to be part of our formal education? If so, how can it be structured so that these youngsters can still attend madrasas, but at some point, they don't miss out on formal education, whether they will go to the nursery school or entering primary school at the right age. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The question relating to whether or not madrasa and Duksi can become part and parcel of our formal education, the answer to that question is yes. And I've indicated that we are working on a policy and strategies to integrate it in our CBC currently. And we have indicated with respect to timelines that we are working towards ensuring that they'll be fully part and parcel of our formal education by 2027 to 2029. So that integration is taking place, the policies are being done, the guidelines are being done, we'll do public participation so that it's part and parcel of our education system to ensure that we have 100% transition in order to deal with the issue of the children who are out of school, perhaps for one reason or another, including the strategies that we are employing, including school meals that we use to retain students in school. So all that coming together and working toward 2029, I've given a timetable showing the pilot, the Mandera, the Wajir, the Garissa, ones that I mentioned about, and Lamu, those are pilots. They are pilot projects that we are doing to ensure that by the time we are rolling it out 100%, it is a workable program that allows all our children to be in one school, but they can learn their madrasa, they can do their duksi, but they are still part and parcel of our formal education. So we have to come up with a curriculum that covers all that and guidelines that ensures that they are not left behind or there are no gaps in the education. So the period within which we intend to roll out national application of that program is by 2029. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Minister. Member for Kadiani, Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please allow me to advise the CS that when engaging with members of this House, the people's representatives, this engagement should never ever be an exercise of PR. That everything he says here must be factual and must be something that is verifiable. Last year, Mr. Speaker, before I even go to my question, I raised a matter here on the preparedness of the ministry for grade 9 classes for 2025. The CS came to the House and told us that they were ready and everything would be ready by January. Mr. Speaker, we have finished first term, and even in my own constituency, we still have a problem,
Robert
Mr. Speaker.
This is question time. You are making a speech.
Mr. Speaker, I am raising a concern that concerns the minister on question that I raised here last year, Mr. Speaker, on the preparedness of grade 9 classes in the country. And the CS came to the House and said he would be ready by January. Mr. Speaker, the first term is over, and there are problems out there. So I'm just saying, as he's dealing with these issues, let him take them seriously and be factual with the answers that he gives the House, Mr. Speaker.
So go ahead and ask your question.
So, Mr. Speaker, on today's matter, Mr. Speaker, I want the CS to clarify whether the criteria for placing teachers in public schools takes into consideration the teacher-student ratio, and if so, provide details on the recommended ratio and whether it has been achieved, and if not, how much is a deficit? One. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I would like the CS to provide a report on the recruitment of teachers for junior secondary schools, including the number of slots allocated to each constituency and the manner in which they were recruited by the TSC, to allay fears of the public that teachers were probably recruited by members of parliament. And third and finally, Mr. Speaker, elaborate on the measures taken by the ministry to ensure the timely replacement of teachers who exit the service through natural attrition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Robert. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question part 1, Mr. Speaker. The Teacher Service Commission determines teacher requirements in public schools using the established staffing norms and not the teacher-student ratio. The staffing norms provides for the ideal number of teachers required in a school based on the following. 1, for primary schools, staffing is based on 1 teacher per class plus 1 additional teacher per school. B, for secondary schools, the number of teachers is determined by the curriculum-based establishment of the school. The CBE provides a more accurate picture of the staffing needs since it aligns with the number of teachers required with the subjects learning areas offered in the school, given that teachers specialize in different subjects. While this criteria ensures optimal utilization of available teachers, it is acknowledged that the ideal staffing levels have not been achieved in public schools due to budgetary constraints. In 2025, for example, the teacher shortage stands at 98,461 teachers. Response to question part B. To address the teacher demand in junior school, the government has made significant efforts to recruit and deploy a total of 76,378 teachers since the introduction of junior school in 2023. These efforts include 1, 9,000 teachers recruited in 2023, 2, 39,550 teachers recruited in 2024. These were in turns converted to permanent and pensionable in January 2025. Number B, 20,000 interns were recruited in January 2025 and are currently serving in junior schools. And also deployment of qualified primary school teachers to junior schools. In this respect, a total of 8,378 teachers have been deployed from primary schools to junior schools. And number 2, the deployment portal remains open to allow willing and qualified primary school teachers to apply to junior school positions. A detailed breakdown, Mr. Speaker, of the teacher recruitment per county and per sub-county is provided in Appendix number 1. Mr. Speaker, the Teacher Service Commission follows a structured replacement process to ensure minimal disruption in schools.
Yes, Robert, what's the point of order?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, the CS has alluded to the part of the question, which is the number of slots allocated to each constituency, and he's made reference to a document. Is it possible for me to get it, because he's responding to my question, so that I can look at it?
Minister.
Yes, it's available. Maybe the clerk can submit it, because we submitted it earlier today. It's attached to our response.
Clerk, can you go on?
So the Teacher Service Commission, Mr. Speaker, follows a structured replacement process to ensure minimal disruption in schools when teachers exit due to retirement, resignation, or attrition. The Commission projects teacher retirements at the start of each financial year. A request for replacement funding is submitted to the National Treasury for approval, and lastly, once funding is approved, the Commission then immediately initiates recruitment to replace the exiting teachers in that financial year. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Robert.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I might not have much to follow up, because the information that he's just given, he said he's presented it, so I would need to go through it. But there is a part which concerns the recruitment of teachers, which is critical, and I would like him to clarify, because it's been out there, the public believes that members of this House are the ones that are recruiting teachers for Teacher Service Commission. I would like him to clarify whether it is members that are recruiting or is the Teacher Service Commission that is recruiting teachers in Kenya.
Minister, you may also clarify. You say that in primary schools, staffing is based on 1 teacher per class plus 1 additional teacher per school. Is it 1 teacher per class regardless of the size of the class? Is it 1 teacher per stream or 1 teacher per class? Because we have some schools, I know, where 1 class has up to 8 streams. Can they operate with 1 teacher? Let's take a few joyriders before Cynthia.
Honourable Speaker, now that we are talking about recruitment, I would also like the CS to address a concern, Honourable Speaker, and tell us why a teacher who has, by the name Mary Chebet from Chepsiria in Nandi County, Honourable Speaker, who graduated in the year 2020, who has a TSC number and cannot be employed by the same TSC because TSC claims that her combination of physics and computer is not admissible because she did not do computer while in high school. Honourable Speaker, this lady did not admit herself to the university and she did not graduate herself from the university and she did not get herself a TSC number and she cannot therefore, Honourable Speaker, be denied employment by TSC on grounds that she did not do computer while in high school. Where was the commission? Where was the ministry when she was in university and when she was given the TSC number?
Yes, Honourable Milemba.
Honourable Speaker, when the minister speaks about 1 teacher per class, does he consider, for instance, CBE, curriculum-based establishment, or even if it were in the primary, is it practical that you can actually have 1 teacher per class? That's overloading the teacher. But more importantly, Honourable Speaker, they are the teachers, Honourable Minister, who actually qualified as teachers of P1 in 2011. And to date, they have not been employed. Honourable Speaker, these teachers qualified when they were about 28 years. They have stayed out for over 16 years. And they are at the age of about 48. They are remaining with only less than 10 years to retire. What are the plans the minister has put in place to consider this group of teachers?
Retire from where, if you are not employed?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, for correcting me that they can't retire because they have never worked. So they are going to pass through the system without ever getting employed. Which plans does the minister have in place to consider this group of teachers, even if it means on affirmative action, for them to get employed? Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Fatuma Jeho.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is on COOPs. I want to ask the Minister how the selections of nurses or nursing are done on COOPs. Mr. Speaker, I am having so many questions from candidates.
Honourable Jeho.
Yes.
Joy riders should ride the running horse.
Okay.
No.
That's, Chair, Speaker, that's why I started on my question is on COOPs. Well guided, Mr.
Yes,
Speaker.
If you are a joy rider, ride a running horse. Don't create your own horse. Yes, Memusi.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, my question is on what the CS has alluded to, that every school has 1 teacher per class plus 1 teacher. Is the CS aware that we have registered schools in parts of Kajiado that have no teachers at all, TSC teachers? Yeah? And number 2, Honourable Speaker, is the CS aware that the distribution of teachers is not controlled by TSC? Teachers are almost placing themselves in schools that they want. You find teachers in urban centers and they would not move from that urban center. And when you go and complain to TSC, they will tell you these teachers will not move from an urban school to a rural school. Is the CS aware of that? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, is the Minister aware that there are regions where there are more teachers per student ratio than others? For example, Honourable Speaker, I am told that there are regions where teachers that don't even work. There are too many that they're just resting. And those teachers cannot be moved because I don't know how they were appointed. Mr. Speaker, I want the Waziri to confirm to us that this is the situation in some regions and that these teachers, that this disparity is real, despite the fact that the Minister is saying that there's one teacher per classroom. I think I dispute that submission. Secondly, Honourable Speaker, I know that there's been an issue on teacher recruitment nationally, and there's an uproar, which I think the question has also been asked. But what I wanted to establish is when teachers retire, what mechanism does TSC put in place to ensure that if a teacher retires today from a particular school, that teacher is replaced immediately so that that vacant position does not go? Thank you.
Kaunya? Is that Oku Kaunya? The member shaking your hand. Protas. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish the Minister to clarify under what circumstance does TSC transfer 5 teachers in one particular school without replacement? Because this has really affected most of the schools in arid and semi-arid areas. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Minister, can he answer those?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As far as I know, TSC recruits teachers for the ministry. The teachers are not recruited by members of parliament. There is a question relating to the graduates of 2020 who cannot be employed because of the combination. I am told for that to happen, they should have had a C+ and above in maths so that they can then get that employment. But I would urge the member to give us more details on this so that we can follow up and find out what is the actual problem, then we can resolve it. 1 teacher per class based on the CBE. That is the basis upon which teachers in primary schools are employed. And where they need more, there is rationalization that TSC does every holiday. Every holiday, TSC undertakes a rationalization exercise to determine which teachers needs to be moved. Where there are more, they would be moved to where there are less. And where they are less, they would be getting more teachers so that there is a form of a balance. So there's an exercise that they do every holiday, and then they recruit or they replace or transfer at the time the school opens. The issue relating to the teachers who have not been employed and they are almost reaching the age of retirement is an issue that is of concern to the government, and we have indicated that so far to date we have a shortfall of 98,000 teachers, and this is because of lack of budget. Should we be able to access the budget through this house, we would then employ those teachers through TSC, and the policy is you employ the teachers who graduated earlier. The earlier ones are the ones who are supposed to be employed when the opportunities arise. The distribution of...
Honorable Speaker, on a point of order, it looks so easily answered the way this minister is doing it. But does he have any document as he talks about budgets, which he has submitted to this House, concerning the teachers of, because it is in his docket, the teachers of 2011, 2012, 2013, including the amount specifically required for that specific team, if indeed he's saying that is of great concern. Or it's just hearsay, we speak about it, then we go away. Because we should have seen a document of demand for that particular budget. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for that question. Because it is a follow-up question, I did not carry that information, but I'll be happy to provide that information with specific requests of the amount of money that is required to employ those particular teachers who earlier graduated, so that we can be able to cover that space. But what I have on record is that we have a shortfall of 98,000 teachers that we need to employ in order for us to bring the number to an acceptable level. The issue of the teachers who are not able to move from urban centers, there is a policy of transfer. I do not know under what circumstances a teacher would be transferred and not move from a particular school to another one. So I would ask that if I get the specific teachers who have not moved when they have been transferred from those urban centers, then we will liaise with TSC to deal with that issue. I do not know that a teacher can by themselves say, I cannot move from where they have been transferred, because the letters of employment indicate that you can be transferred from one school to another. It is true that there could be areas where there are more teachers than the other areas because of the discrepancy, and that's why I indicated that TSC normally undertakes a rationalization exercise every term during the school holidays to ensure that that balance is done, including issues relating to retirement, issues relating to natural attrition, etc., so that they can be able to rationalize the numbers. On the issue of transferring 5 teachers without replacement, Mr. Speaker, this could be a specific issue that we need to respond to depending on the circumstances of that case. It could be that these relate to rationalization, a situation where maybe there were more teachers than the school required. But if we get the specific case, then we can be able to respond to it specifically. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Mama Tranzoya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am dissatisfied by the answer of the CS to Honorable Omboko, because if it is true that during recruitment they do consider the year of registration, then I don't think we could be having teachers who are about to retire without having been employed. So I don't know what measures you are going to put across our CS, because honestly speaking, our teachers are almost retiring and we have even changed the system. And I don't think now, in the next few years, they will be able to be employed. We would wish you to give us an answer that all the teachers that are about to retire be considered with immediate effect, so that they can even benefit for the few years that are remaining. Thank you.
Yes, Mawade.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would want to ask the CS. The CS for Education just said that the teachers are hired depending on the earliest who graduated. I have an Esther Nekesa Wanjala who graduated in a resident of Kware in Mpaka South constituency, who graduated in 2013. And there are people who graduated in 2020, 2022 who have been hired. And yet Esther is still sitting out there without employment. So there is need for the CS to follow the order of the earliest, as indicated my colleague, the earliest graduates be given the first opportunity, because now people are getting in the teachers are getting in their ages of, in their early 40s, mid 40s, and yet they are still tamarking out there. And then when they go through seek for employment, when they apply, this lady, Esther, has applied to be employed 24 times. There was 2 years that she tried, there's a year that she tried twice.
You made your point. Parayo.
Thank you.
My question is on a hardship allowance, because I do remember about 4 months ago I brought this issue to this parliament, and the minister came here, and my question was that teachers are running away from my schools in Narok North and Central. And why they are running away is because the neighboring the neighboring constituencies are beneficiaries of the hardship allowances. And this money makes these teachers go to other schools. So at the moment as we speak here, we have a shortage of teachers in all my schools. And the reason is that these teachers are running away to the neighboring schools. And I think my constituency qualifies to be a hardship area. One, because the roads are impassable. It takes a teacher 2 days to get to the school where he's going. And when he gets there, there are no houses in those schools. And the place that I come from is very cold. And this is still puts these teachers into a hardship area. So I tend to believe that we qualify to benefit.
Ask a question, Judith. You are making a speech.
Yeah, the question is, I'm still waiting for the answer from the minister, because I remember bringing that question here and I've never heard the answer. Can the minister tell me why I have not gotten that answer and the problem is still there? Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can quickly answer the question of hardship areas. The hardship areas in this country, Mr. Speaker, are gazetted, and the support that the government gives either through the TSC or the civil service is based on the hardship areas that are gazetted. So the gazettement is the key that unlocks the issue of the hardship areas. Without a gazetted area or an area being gazetted as hardship, there isn't much that the TSC or the civil service can do. So I think the thing that needs to be done is a mapping of the whole country to determine which areas need to qualify as gazetted for both the TSC and the public service, so that we can have an amalgamated or an harmonized system of what is hardship, so that it applies across the board. That mapping has not been done, and so currently we're only dealing with the gazetted areas hardship areas depending on whether or not they've been gazetted. The issue of the recruitment that we are talking about, the replacement of the teachers who, retire or who leave service for attrition or other reasons, that recruitment is actually done at the sub-county level, and the replacement is done at that local position. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Make progress. Next question. Elijah Memusi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Hold on, Memusi. Yes, Mawade?
Mr. Speaker, the CES did not respond to my question and my point, please, because he earlier on alluded to the fact that they hired the earliest, and yet there are people who have been hired in 2018, 2022, graduated in 2018, 2022, and yet this graduate of 2013 has not been recruited or hired. Please respond.
Minister.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I didn't respond to that
yes,
question.
Shinali, what is it? Hold on, Minister.
Sorry.
Yes, Shinali, what is it?
Mr. Speaker, in the same vein, let the CS tell us if he's taking any deliberate action to make sure that teachers which came out first are employed first, so that whoever comes out first is employed first. And Mr. Speaker, I would like to know how much the CS is involved in recruitment. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, we would rather have the commission, the Teacher Service Commission here, so that we get clear answers on the matters recruitment of teachers.
The minister is the policy director to TSC and is competently here to answer questions. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Of course, the recruitment is undertaken by TSC, which is an independent commission, and the policy for recruitment is that you recruit the people who graduated first, not the ones who graduated later. Sometimes that doesn't happen because either the counties under which they are being employed, the numbers or the graduation years are different. So what I think we are going to do, and we are trying to resolve that issue, is because we are undertaking an amendment of the current acts under the reforms that we are undertaking from the 2023 Presidential Working Party. It is, I think, we need to move it from policy to law so that it can be followed to the letter. So my answer in terms of being the policy holder of that particular ministry is to ensure that it is anchored in law so that it can be complied with. It is true that there could be circumstances where the teachers who graduated early are left out for those who did not graduate earlier. But we as a ministry do not have powers to punish, to punish TSC because it's an independent commission. So we need to anchor this in law to ensure that that particular law or that particular policy is followed to the letter.
Very briefly, the CS is contradicting himself. He says they follow the years, and that's why we are speaking about 2011, 12, 13, 14. But then he somersaults along the way and says there's another policy he's using based on certain regions. So there's a case where now we are not following. Could he speak then more? Because possibly that's what we are looking for. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Hoja yangu ya nidhamu ni ile mwelekeo tunachukua. Vile wanasema waangaliwe kulingana na mwaka aliyomaliza. Nataka kutoa mfano kwangu. Na hii mkiendelea hivi nahofia waziri asiende na huo mtindo akatumaliza sisi jamii zingine. Kwa mfano mtu amemaliza mwaka jana na mwalimu pengine amemaliza mwaka juzi tuseme. Kwa jamii moja pengine wameamua wote wawe walimu. Na pengine wetu wa Bajuni wa Lamu ni kidogo walichukuliwa mwaka jana. Mwaka huu wametoka wengine, museme hao wasichukuliwe, wachukuliwe wale ambao walimaliza mbele. Hiyo itakuwa ni kutumaliza. Usawa ni ioneshwe kulingana na percentage hawa wamechukuliwa jamii hii vipi, tusiache wengine nyuma. Hii mwelekeo mnaenda kila mtu kujitetea kivyake, mtamaliza wengine. Tuangalieni Ukenya kwa jumla.
Right, you are saying what he has just said. He already said that. Yes, Madenge.
Honorable Speaker, I think the CS is treading on dangerous grounds. He has now asserted that the Teacher Service Commission is an independent commission and therefore not under the direction of anybody, including the ministry. Yet he has purported to answer questions that are the mandate of the Teacher Service Commission. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I think it is important that then this House does get answers from the Teachers Service Commission, not from the CS Education. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Aseka.
Speaker, looking at these issues, will I be in order to suggest that we come up with a policy decision that we stop training of more teachers after and when we absorb all that are already trained in Kenya?
You've gotten the answer from your colleagues. Minister? Minister, do you have authority to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I do have authority to speak on behalf of TSC because we're the policy head of the ministry and the TSC is under the ministry. It is independent, doing certain jobs by law because it's an independent commission, but it is the policy holder, the policy guidelines are provided for by the ministry. That's the basis upon which we are here. And we are saying we work together to ensure that we are doing what needs to be done for teachers and for students in this country. And that's why I'm answering those questions. So it's not like I've waded into their mandate. It is their mandate to to recruit teachers and recruit teachers according to the policy and guidelines that are provided for that recruitment. Thank you.
Memusi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, matters of education are very sensitive to these members, and I think we would need a lot of time with the CS, maybe a monthly session with him. Having said that, I rise to ask question number 37 of 2025. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a report on the distribution of textbooks to primary, secondary schools in the country? 2, provide a per county list of staffing levels of teachers in both primary and secondary schools, and identify the schools with significant shortages, including measures taken to ensure that teachers are recruited to fill the gaps. 3, clarify whether there are schools that are yet to be assigned a junior secondary school teacher, and if so, explain the measures being implemented to address the issue. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, state measures put in place to train all teachers on the competency-based curriculum. I thank you.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To question subsection 1, the Ministry, through the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, distributes books to learners across the country at the ratio of 1 core textbook per learner per subject. There is a table that we've provided that indicates the distribution of textbooks since financial year 2017-2018. In the year 2017-2018, there were 32,579,977 books ordered. For the year 2018-2019, 68,446,084 books were ordered. The year 2019 to 2020, 24,456,786 books were ordered. The year 2020 to 2021, 33,253,705 books were ordered. The year 2021 to 2022, 23,539 books were ordered. 23,539,613. 2022 to 2023, 31 million books, 233 and 35 books were ordered. 2023-2024, 26,933,992 books were ordered. 2024 to 2025, there were 9,926,618 books that were ordered. Mr. Speaker, grade 10 textbooks are under evaluation and review are undergoing in April and May 2025. This will ensure that publishers have ample time to print and distribute books to public schools by the start of third term in 2025. Part 2 of that question, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Article 237, Article 2 of the Constitution, the Teacher Service Commission strives to optimally staff schools to ensure that learners' right to quality education is achieved as shown in Appendix number 2, that's a document that we have attached that shows the staffing for both primary and secondary schools. However, due to budgetary constraints, there are teacher shortages in both primary and secondary level. For instance, Mandera, Turkana, Wajir, West Pokot, and Garissa counties have the highest teacher shortages at the primary school level, while Kakamega, Bungoma, Homa Bay, Trans Nzoia, Bomet, and Siaya counties have the highest teacher shortages at the secondary school level. To address teacher shortages, the Teacher Service Commission has implemented the following measures to ensure that that gap is covered. There is the annual teacher recruitment plan, where under the Commission strategic plan, there is an obligation to recruit 22,374 additional teachers annually to progressively address teacher shortages. Accordingly, the Commission submits annual budgetary requests to the National Treasury to support teacher recruitment. Number 2, they engage teacher interns. In addition to recruitment of permanent and pensionable teachers, the Commission annually seeks budgetary allocation to engage 20,000 teacher interns who provide immediate staffing support while awaiting full-time employment. Number 3, To optimize the utilization of available teachers, the Commission continuously monitors and implements staff balancing measures by transferring teachers from well-staffed schools to those with high teacher shortages. And number 4, the Commission has initiated innovative teaching methods, that is live streaming lessons to supplement face-to-face teaching in schools with significant teacher shortages, particularly in remote areas. Part 3 of that question, Mr. Speaker, noting the right of every learner to quality education, the government has put in place measures such as positing of recruited teachers to junior school and deployment of qualified primary school teachers to junior school to ensure that all junior schools are assigned teachers. Steps are taken to ensure that where new schools are established, teachers are promptly deployed. The government has put in place the following measures to address instances where new junior schools are established. 1, deployment of qualified primary school teachers to junior school. The Teacher Service Commission continues to deploy qualified and willing primary school teachers to junior school secondary to help bridge the staffing gaps. The deployment portal remains open to facilitate applications from eligible primary school teachers who meet the requirements for junior school teaching positions. And number 2, staff balancing within the sub-counties and counties. The Teacher Service Commission conducts periodic staff balancing to redistribute available teachers with a view to rationalize teacher resources within the same sub-county or county. Part 4 of that question, Mr. Speaker, P1 teachers who completed the P1 teacher training colleges before 2019 are not employed by TSC, were not competency-based curriculum compliant. From 2019, the TSC began retooling teachers on CBC so that they acquire the pedagogies required for CBC teachers. In 2019, the unemployed teachers began undertaking a 9-month upgrading program using a curriculum prepared by the KICD and did an assessment which was coordinated by NEC. This upgrade program will be continued up to 2028 until all the teachers are upgraded to CBC compliant status. In order to deal with the teacher preparedness on competency-based education, the Teacher Service Commission has put in place the following measures. 1, retooling and professional development of the teachers. The government, through the Teacher Service Commission, has retooled teachers who will handle grade 1 to 9 in competency-based curriculum and competency-based assessment. The Commission continues the retooling of teachers on CBC during holidays to ensure they are fully capacity built for effective implementation of the new curriculum. The model of training is Smart Cascade, and it involves the training of master trainers who then train the trainers of trainers and thereafter offer professional support training during the face-to-face training of teachers in the select avenues in the county. The Cascade model is master trainer down to trainer of trainers and then to teachers. The retooling of teachers involves 172 national master trainers for regular, 58 for special needs education drawn from TSC, KICD, NEC, KEMIS, and MASTEA, and the Ministry of Education, KISE, and teacher training colleges, and 1,538 trainers of trainers for regular, and 196 for special needs drawn from different teacher training colleges, curriculum support officers, and Ministry of Education quality assurance officers for both regular and special needs. Over 229,292 public and private primary school teachers and 60,642 junior school teachers have been trained to implement the competency-based curriculum. There is a table that we've indicated in our report that shows the number of primary school teachers that have been trained to implement the competency-based curriculum. The total number stands for curriculum support officers, regular and special needs. We have 1,411. For CBC champions, teachers, regular and SNE, we have 2,874. Then we have head teachers, regular and special needs education, who are 23,324. Head teachers in private institutions, 5,833. And for teachers who are regular and special needs in public institutions, we have teachers for grade 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 70,652. Teachers for grade 5 and 6, there are 93,000 688. And for private schools, we have for grade 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, there are 31,510. Total number is 292 teachers. For junior school, the number of teachers who have been retooled, as I've said, is 60,642 teachers, made up of 29,374 male and 31,272 female, are shown below. We have a table there. Further, through semester, Mr. Speaker, junior school teachers have been capacity built on science, technology, English, and mathematics subjects. This is to ensure that they are imparted with appropriate pedagogies in the handling of STEM subjects under the competency-based curriculum. In anticipation of the first transition to senior school next year, the Teacher Service Commission has embarked on the retooling of senior school teachers in the various pathways to be offered at senior school. In addition to their foregoing, the government, through the Teacher Service Commission, is also offering ongoing professional development opportunities to keep teachers updated on the latest trends, techniques, and research in art and sports, social sciences, and STEM. The teachers are also provided with continuous professional development opportunities to keep them updated on the latest trends and techniques in the sector. It is important to note, Mr. Speaker, that the current pre-service programs for teachers in the primary teaching training colleges is now implemented using a competency-based curriculum since 2021. The same is being done to university students taking education program. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Memusi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I want to tell the CS, without fear of contradiction, that these books are not reaching the schools. He has stated that from 2018 to the financial year 2023-24, they've been distributing books. But I can tell the CS that I have schools that have not received books for the last 5 years. So I'm wondering, Honorable Speaker, whether the CS, when he receives these questions from members, whether he gets information from his education directors from respective counties, or he gets these replies from technocrats sitting in headquarters. Because the information that is given to members is not in touch with what is on the ground. Honorable Speaker, I want the CS to answer on that. Number two, I'm very surprised that Kajiado is not on the list of counties with acute teacher shortages. And the main reason for this, Honorable Speaker, is we have lazy government employees who, when they're supposed to collect information, they don't go beyond town centers. Kajiado is a very unique county. If you go to Kajiado West and visit Kiserian, you have visited an urban part of that constituency. But if you go ahead and go to Mosiro and go to Magadi, that's a rural part of Kajiado West. If you go to Kajiado Town and visit schools in Kajiado Town around the area, you have not seen the rural of Kajiado Central. You need to go to schools like Sere Primary, you need to go to schools like Kiltirpen that border Tanzania. Now, the question is...
Avoid the temptation to make a speech or debate.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I need to be understood where I'm coming from. So the question is this information that the CS is giving us, is it from the ground or is it from technocrats from headquarters here in Nairobi? That is the question.
Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me also to ask a supplementary question aligning to GSS teachers. Is the Cabinet Secretary aware that in many schools, GSS schools, to the very base they have got 3 teachers for grades 7, 8, and 9? And is he aware that in some schools the streams are more than 1? And is he aware that at times teachers are required to teach subjects they have never trained in, which makes it a complete, the students, we're just wasting the students. Thank you, Speaker.
Mama Zamzam.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Swali langu kwa waziri, hizi shule ambazo wamejenga juzi za grade 9 JCC bado hawajapata mahabara ama laboratories. Na sio hizo peke yake, hata kuna sekondari ambazo pia walikuwa hawana kabisa laboratories. Wengine wanakuja kuomba katika ofisi yangu ni wajengee, na pia wale ambao wanazo hawana pia vile vifaa ndani ya labs. Umefanya jukumu gani kuweza kuhakikisha kuwa wanafunzi wanapata hizi services kule shuleni? Asante sana.
Bensouda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have two questions. One.
Only one. Joy Rider, only one question.
Okay, I'll conjoin them in a minute. One, could the minister inform this House the level of staff establishment and ratio of teachers, because some schools were categorized under they are adequately, some constituencies are adequately having secondary school teachers, while others are not, are having below. I was concerned because I know several schools in Homa Bay County that are totally understaffed. So what is the staff establishment? What are the ratios of school? And what is the level that is required? Two, previously the government has utilized a lot of money in constructing schools by the Ministry of Education, that is the laboratories, before the JSS came. I've moved around, and some schools, particularly I went to a George Agolo War secondary school in Karachuonyo. The classroom is dilapidated, and that is just less than 2 years down the line. Could we get data on the Ministry of Education spending in constructing schools to support these other programs, including the JSS? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The information that we are submitting is collected from both the ground and the headquarters. So normally they will be collected from the ground, it is sent to the headquarters, and then it's collected for us to submit to this House. So it is done at both levels. And if there are schools that are indicated to have been supplied books and the books are not there, that is an action that needs to be taken if we have specific schools. Because we have been also to some schools in Kajiado where there are books, but there could be other schools. If there are truly no books that have been submitted and the record shows they were submitted, that is something that we can take action on. But the particular policy is that there should be one book per student per core subject. And that's why when we're talking about even grade 9, we did start distribution of 9.9 books from October 2024, leading to the grade 9 that was able to transit to grade 9 in 2025. In terms of the teachers, being 3 teachers, but it is true that there, and I've indicated it, that we do not have the optimal number of teachers in each school. So we are making do with the number that we have, but we are also working with TSC to retool the teachers that are there so that they are able to teach the subjects and they're able to meet the requirements of the students as we work towards employing more to ensure that we have enough. That's why we said we have employed 76,000 teachers in the last 1 or 2 years, and we continue making efforts to employ more depending on availability of budget in order for us to have the optimal number as we move forward. But we are doing everything possible, including retooling of the teachers who are there to be able to support the JSS classrooms. With respect to the staffing levels, as I've indicated, the TSC uses the CBE to staff the students, to staff the schools by teachers. And they do rationalization where we realize that maybe there are more teachers in one place than the other, and as I've indicated, they then do the inter-county transfers to ensure that we have a level of equality, a level of equity in those schools. And with respect to the question of laboratories, we are working towards building more laboratories, and beginning July, we have a plan to build another 1,600 laboratories in these schools, and we are working towards ensuring that we use every method possible, including virtual learning, to ensure that the students have actually interacted with the laboratory or laboratory requirements in those schools. The dilapidated infrastructure is an issue that concerns the government. That's why we've continued to work towards improving that infrastructure depending on availability of resources. The last 2 years, the ministry has not gotten any infrastructural funds to be able to put into the infrastructure of building of classrooms. We did do the classrooms for grade 9 on a fund that we received from the World Bank. That's how we were able to do the 16,000 classrooms for grade 9. But we continue working towards ensuring that we improve these facilities even with our partners. Thank you, and I submit.
Kazim Tandaza. Question 038.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary, Roman 1, provide the number? I'm repeating the number. That is the question as it stands to answer. The number of qualified teachers trained to teach students in the select pathways provided for in senior secondary school under the CBC. Question, Honorable Minister, the number in the different pathways as you stand to answer. 2, state how many, this is again the number of qualified teachers that have been posted to the Matuga constituency, and Kwale County. And 3, outline the measures put in place by the ministry to have enough qualified teachers for creative arts and sports. This being the other pathway, this country has a lot of talent in that area. So I'm still asking for the number of qualified teachers for creative arts and sports in all the schools in Kenya. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let the minister answer the question before we have joyriders. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To prepare for senior school, the government has begun retooling a total of 131,246 senior school teachers to transition the students to senior school. In order to mitigate the challenges of handling the new learning areas and technical subjects, the Ministry and the Teacher Service Commission will work together to ensure the following. 1, the Kenya School of TVET will enroll and prepare the diploma technical teachers who have a mean grade of C+ and who have done 2 technical subjects to undergo through a pedagogical course and other education courses required to qualify to teach at senior school. Number 2, universities will enroll students in 2 technical subjects and pedagogical content knowledge with a strong basis in education. The diploma technical teachers with KCSE mean grade C+ and 2 teaching subjects in which they have scored a mean grade of C+ and trained adequately in pedagogical knowledge will be absorbed by the Commission to enable them to teach effectively at senior school. Part 2 of that question. By the financial year 2024-2025, the Teacher Service Commission had recruited and posted a total of 1,318 teachers to junior school, both permanent and pensionable, as well as interns to various sub-counties in Kwale County. The allocation per sub-county is as follows: Kinango, 244, Matuga, 212, Lungalunga, 301, Msambweni, 190, Samburu, 279, Shimba Hills, 92, total 1,318. Mr. Speaker, creative arts and sports is one of the learning areas in junior school, grade 7 to 9. In creative arts and sports, students explore various creative expressions and physical activities, including composing, rhythm and melody, athletics, handball, football, storytelling, and Kenya folk songs. The Teacher Service Commission is providing qualified teachers for creative arts and sports for junior school by recruiting and deploying the available music, fine art, and physical education teachers. The ministry, through the Diploma Secondary Education Teacher Training Colleges, that is Kagumo, Lugari, and Kibabi, is training teachers specifically on the performing arts and visual arts learning areas. These teachers will complete their training in July 2025 and will be vital for bridging any shortages of the creative and art teachers in the country. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Shimba. Sorry, Shimba, hold on. Changamwe, take your seat. Let's give the owner of the question the first bite.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I don't know whether the CS read my question and whether he is answering the question. Question 038 of 2025. Honorable Speaker, my question, Roman 1, was the number of qualified teachers trained to teach students in select pathways and the answer does not give the number. That was the question. The gist of this question was the number trained in the different pathways. He has gone to elaborate, give us theories, and which is not related to the question. So in case he can't get the numbers now, is it possible for this question to be deferred so that he can come with a correct answer to my question? Roman 2 was how many qualified teachers? He has given a number of 212, which I don't dispute. But to answer that question, I expected him to say, out of the 212, this number are for arts, this number are for STEM, and this number is for performing arts and sports, because that was the gist of the CBC, to get those three pathways. There is no answer to that question, Honorable Speaker. He goes on to state that TVET will enroll. And we know by next year, this senior secondary school will be, the students will be in grade up to 9, grade 10. But up to this juncture, he's talking of TVET will enroll. He's talking of diploma teachers with C+ will be absorbed. So, numbers, Honorable Speaker, and I think this question will only be answered if the CS will come up with the numbers. Even on the last item, paragraph 47 of his answer, when he talks of Kagumo, Lugari, trade specifically on the performing arts and visual arts, which was the gist of my question, he still says they will, without even giving numbers, vis-a-vis the demand of this, the schools in senior secondary school and what my question was asking. Honorable Speaker, if we cannot get the numbers, I will request that this question is deferred to answer the specific questions that I had asked. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Omar Mwinyi.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Ask
Thank you.
Question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, listening to the questions which you normally ask whenever ministers come here, I would feel it will be proper for the minister to prepare a list for all the constituencies in the country to indicate the number of teachers that they have, the shortages, so that at least the purpose of that would be to correct those anomalies, so that we create equity, so that every constituency gets a fair share of the teachers. Otherwise, I'm sure next month another member would ask the same question for his constituency, yet the minister will get away with those type of answers where we still need some more information. So I think they better print a list of all the constituencies that we have in the country with the teachers, the shortages, so that the TSC can then make what we call affirmative action to correct the anomalies that are there within the ministry. And Mr. Speaker, since the minister is here, I would also want to get it from him. How are you dealing with the principals who are still refusing to give the certificates to the learners who had actually completed schools? Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary. You'll respond to those ones. Question number 3825 requires data.
Yes.
Cabinet Secretary, if you don't have the data,
Thank you.
the provision of the data can, upon request, be delivered to a date we may specify. Kindly respond.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for that guidance. It is true that I have not sort of stipulated the number of teachers in each pathway. I've given a general number, that's 131,246. And I've also given the 1,318 without stipulating which pathways, which teachers are in which pathways. I beg to be allowed to go and redo that response so that I can stipulate each particular pathway with the correct number of teachers, both nationally and in the constituency and the Matuga constituency and Kwale County, so that we can have that stipulated and it outlined. And with respect to the question of dealing with this globally so that we can do all the constituencies and actually get the data indicating the number of teachers, what they are teaching, what they are qualified for, and the shortages, so that each constituency then can pick, we can have a global view. I seek for more time to be able to submit that data so that we can then interrogate each particular constituency as and when we are able to do that. So if I'm allowed, we'll work with the TSC to provide that data so that it is completely clear. I submit.
Yeah, honorable members, for the convenience of the House, that data, in case it will be taking long for the Cabinet Secretary to return to the plenary, can be delivered, if it is available in good time, to the relevant committee, the Departmental Committee on Education, which can then invite all members to actually scrutinize and ensure the information you need in terms of how teachers are allocated to your constituencies is represented. Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Question number... Yes, there is the directive you issued, Cabinet Secretary, about the release of academic certificates by various schools.
Actually, that question is in here, but I can say the following. The directive that we gave to the principals is based under Article 53 of the Constitution and the Kenya National Examinations Act 2012, Section 10, subsection, I think, 2. And it simply says nobody is allowed to hold any certificate belonging to a student. And no institution and no person. So we gave that directive and we issued a circular to follow that directive. A number of principals have complied. A number have not complied. We gave them 14 days, which is expiring next week. After that, our county directors of education and the sub-county directors of education will collect the data and will do two things. One, will take disciplinary action against those principals who have not complied through the TSC. Yes. But more seriously, we will undertake a legal process against those teachers. The reason is this. All the certificates that they are holding bear the name of the students. They do not bear the name of the parents. No school has an agreement, a contractual obligation with the student to pay school fees. They have a contractual obligation with the parents. So you are holding a certificate belonging to somebody else to secure a debt of somebody else. So we'll take some legal action, which we are still working on, to ensure that those who've been holding these certificates for whatever reason, and they told me that these directives have been given even from the Moi era, but this time they'll pay personally once we do the quantification of the loss that the students have undergone. Because when you hold the certificate of the students, for example, currently they are supposed to be applying to KUPS to get to university. When you are holding it, they will not be able to get to university. So you're actually killing their life. And you have no control, you have no contract. Number two, there is no, it is the government that pays for examinations. So nobody has, you have not paid for the examination that leads to the certificate being issued. So with this time, we will take action, and we'll take serious action against those principals. And we've agreed with the Teacher Service Commission that they'll take serious disciplinary action, and we as a ministry will take legal action on behalf of the students. That's what we are going to do.
I know that is a very crucial matter for all members of parliament. I think the point the CS is making is that it is wrong for any institution to hold back the life and the progress of any student. Also, if you consider that the majority of them are children, and therefore fall under the law he has quoted and Article 53 of the Constitution. Honorable CS, that is a matter you are passionate about. Let me say you've done well to communicate it to the public, and I hope all principals are watching. Please follow it through with action. Honorable members, let us not overflog it. Let us wait for action from the Cabinet Secretary. Question number 039 of 2025, the question by the member for Kitunguri, the Honorable Gadoni Wamuchomba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 39. But before so, Speaker, with your permission, allow me to just stress to the Minister that it is imperative for him to always pronounce statements in this House that are followed by actions. I refer to his session in November last year when we inquired about the preparedness of the JSS grade 9 classrooms. And he came here and assured us that the classes are going to be ready in January. From where I sit in Githunguri constituency, we still have many schools that still don't have those classes. So he gave me some level of comfort in November.
The Honorable Wamuchomba.
And therefore I would want, yes, Speaker.
Kindly ask the question on the order paper.
Thank you, sir.
Then the matter you are raising can be raised in the context of other relevant questions.
I oblige. Thank you. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide the total amount of capitation funds disbursed by the Ministry of Education per school in the financial year 2024-2025 in Githunguri constituency, and the number of students per school who have benefited from the funds? Part 2, state the criteria used by the ministry to suspend students from NEMIS and safeguards in place to ensure that eligible students do not get suspended in the future. Part 3, outline the total number of students in public primary and secondary schools in the Githunguri constituency who have been suspended from NEMIS since the beginning of the year 2024 academic year. Part 4, provide the current status of student registration on NEMIS across public schools in the country. And Part 5, outline measures put in place, if any, to ensure smooth NEMIS operations and sufficient disbursement of funds to prevent future disruptions in learning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Part 1 of the question. Thus far, the sum of 13,265,471,000 has been disbursed to schools in Githunguri constituency as capitation under the free primary education program. The total amount of capitation per primary school in Githunguri constituency for financial year 2024-2025 is stipulated in the table below. My apologies, it is 13,265,471, not billion. There is a table that we've stipulated in our answer, and the number of schools go to a total of 53 schools. The number of students are various, like AK Magugu, term 1 was 266 students, term 2 was 283 students, and term 3 Enrollment in term 3 was 266 students. Enrollment in term 2 was 283. Like that, I've given that table. If I go through it, it will take too long. And that also is a position for high school. We have 38 schools in secondary schools. So it's 13 million plus. In the criteria used, Mr. Speaker, may I begin by clarifying that no learners are suspended from the National Education Management Information System, NEMIS. NEMIS was introduced to act as a source of reliable, real-time educational data. The data uploaded is then used in making important policy decisions, including the allocation of capitation to learners. It is a requirement that details of all learners enrolled in both public and private institutions be uploaded in NEMIS. In order to ensure the integrity of the data on NEMIS, the learners' birth certificate numbers are uploaded on the system so that each learner has a unique identifier. This ensures that there are no fictitious learners on the system. Since some parents are unable to promptly provide the birth certificates for their children, the ministry uses the NEC assessment numbers for learners in grade 3, 4, 5, and 6 so that they can use those to upload. However, the requirement for birth certificate is still retained for learners in grade 1 and 2. Learners whose details have been uploaded on NEMIS without a unique identifier are not considered for capitation since their existence cannot be verified. To ensure that eligible learners are funded, the ministry regularly requires their teachers to upload full learners' details on NEMIS. Number 2, identifies all learners whose full details have not been uploaded to alert the head teachers so that they can upload the details. Number 3, they hold regular sensitization meetings, both physical and online, with sub-county directors of education to equip them with skills for supervising the uploading of data on NEMIS by the schools in their areas of jurisdiction. Part 3 of that question, Mr. Speaker, as I've already stated, the ministry does not suspend learners from NEMIS. What happens is that the learners whose full details are not provided on NEMIS are highlighted on the system to signal the head teachers and county directors of education to provide the requisite information. Part 4, the number of basic education learners registered on NEMIS as at 17:20 hours on 8th April 2025 stood at 6,774,565. Mr. Speaker, part 5 of that question, to ensure smooth NEMIS operations and seamless provision of capitation, the ministry takes the following measures. 1, regular digital skills training and capacity building initiatives to NEMIS users, including education managers, policymakers, field officers, heads of institutions, partners, and the community. Number 2, the regular and continuous updates and verification of students' bio details and accompanying school infrastructure needs. Number 3, enhancing systems integration between NEMIS and other systems in the education, including NEC and KICD Cloud, among others. And number 4, the provision of training to stakeholders on capitation requirements in NEMIS and early sensitization for data capture and updates. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Omuchomba.
Thank you, CS, for the response. However, I am not satisfied with your statement that no student has been suspended from NEMIS system from Githunguri constituency. This is backed by some facts that I can table on the floor of this House, that over 311 students as at 25th of March this year were not in the NEMIS system. The teachers complained that every time they try to return the student in the system, the students are highlighted and the system does not allow them back into the system. And that I can table as evidence, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, I would seek your indulgence on that issue. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, the CS has said that the total number of public students in Githunguri that are receiving NEMIS funds, he has said that he has a schedule. I would love that he shares with me that schedule through you, Mr. Speaker, with your guidance, so that I can be able to disseminate information accordingly. Thank you.
The Honorable Catherine Omanyo wanted to joyride on this.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just had a concern. According to Vision 2030, by now we should be having equal opportunities to all children in Kenya. Equal, like education-wise, if any student goes to school, they should be assured that they will learn without being sent home for lacking fees. What is your plan in assuring that we do not have some students in Kenya who are always thrown out of class for lacking fees? And two, for us to also have smooth education, what are your plans to ensure that teachers or the headmasters, the principals of schools, run their programs smoothly without having to wait for a very long time, to the level some of us here MPs have to make some noise and the teachers also make some noise for any money to reach their banks for them to do any transactions. Then lastly, if you go to some schools in Kenya, some students and pupils still sit on the floor, or they sit on stones or logs of trees. Where on earth, in this time and age, should we still be observing that? Actually, I visited one in my county, and I was shocked that students still go through that, and yet they sit same exams just like any other privileged students. So again, I'm back on the equality question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Cabinet Secretary to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the 311 students that have not been returned back for one reason or another, I would urge the honourable member to share with us that information so that we can find out, because if they have met the requirements of the birth certificates or the number, the assessment number, they should be able to be uploaded back so that they can become part and parcel of that. So we need to know what would be the reason or the challenge that they have, so that we can handle that issue. We will be sharing, we've already shared the data. I think the clerk will share with you that data, and if there's any more information that you require, please let us know that we can coordinate and sort that out. On the question of equal opportunities, the head teachers are not allowed to send students home for lack of fees, because secondary and primary schools is funded by the government, unless it is the portion that relates to boarding that the parents pay. But otherwise, the guidelines from the ministry is that you do not send the students home, for example, for the delays in capitation, and that will answer the second part of that question. And we had indicated, in fact, last time there was a bit of a delay in the release of capitation, and we did urge the principals and the head teachers not to send the students home, and they obliged. And we normally work very closely with the Ministry of Treasury to ensure that the capitation is released on time. Last September, it was released 2 days before opening, so we did not have that challenge. But in January, there was a bit of a challenge. We had to do it even in installments. For the second term that is coming, we are already engaging with the Treasury, including this morning we had a meeting with Treasury to try and negotiate with them to ensure that we receive the capitation before the schools open. So it is that balancing act that we have to do because of the scarcity of resources to ensure that the money is in school so that there is no hardship for the teachers. It's an understandable challenge, but it's a challenge that is across the board that we are working very, very hard to ensure that maybe going forward it can be resolved. On the issue of the infrastructure relating to the children not having enough either desks or classrooms, this is the normal challenge that the government is facing. And as I said earlier, we are working very closely, including with members of parliament through the CDF. And thank you very much, by the way, members, because some of the institutions I've visited, you've done a very good job in support of our institutions in coming up with classrooms, buying desks, and supporting the students in those areas. So it is something that we are facing as a country, but we work every day to see that that problem is resolved. Thank you.
Yes, the next question is on the same subject matter. Why don't I allow the Honorable Simon Kingara to ask it, then we can have more joy riders stretch the matter. It's on the same subject matter, for the convenience of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for according me this opportunity to ask question number 40 of 2025, directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. One, Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why Mutuya Primary School in Oiro constituency, despite being duly registered and having its learners onboarded on the NEMIS portal, has not received the free-day secondary education capitation funds allocated to the junior secondary schools? Mr. Speaker, number 2, can the Cabinet Secretary outline the measures being taken to ensure that Mutuya Primary School receives capitation fund to cater for the 242 students registered as junior secondary school learners? Finally, Mr. Speaker, can the Cabinet Secretary provide timelines for the release of the funds to facilitate the smooth operation of the school? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, capitation is provided to schools on the basis of NEMIS. Each junior school is required to do a requisition for a NEMIS code and fill in a capitation grant form application. The head teacher of an institution is expected to upload learners and bank accounts details on the NEMIS portal. In the case of Mutuya Primary School, the head teacher had not uploaded the bank account details by the time the capitation bank schedules were generated on the 6th of December 2024. The system could therefore not allocate funds to the institution. The head teacher had a meeting with the ministry officials on the 22nd of January 2025 and was advised on the necessary requirements. Following our guidance, Mr. Speaker, the head teacher has now uploaded all the necessary information about the school and learners on the NEMIS portal. The institution will therefore benefit from the capitation starting from next term. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I submit.
Honorable Simon Kingara.
Thank you, CS, for the answer. But my question, noting that this money is to facilitate the school, what will happen that the term has lapsed now?
The Honorable Mulanya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take a bite on part 1 of the question, particularly on capitation to junior secondary school. Mr. Speaker, can the minister tell us how much parents are required to pay in terms of school fees?
Honorable Mulanya, your question should be asked when the next question is raised. This one deals with the registration on NEMIS. So you just take back your seat when the next question by the Honorable Rueda Obo is asked. I'll give you the chance to ride over.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Dr. Wilbur Fosoundo.
Speaker, I just want the Cabinet Secretary, he might not have the information now, but he could go back and counter-check and take necessary action. If he is aware, Milimani Primary School and Sirekeresi Primary School. Milimani Primary School and Sirekeresi Primary School in Funyula constituency that got the registration certificate, I think it's called iPad, whatever they call it, sometimes early last year, and up to now, they have not been registered to receive capitation. And if we could expedite the process to ensure in the next disbursement, they have received that capitation. Secondly, Speaker, on the same matter, free day secondary school education, What is the policy of the ministry as regards the school feeding program, where parents contribute towards feeding the scholars in schools? What is the policy, and is there any set figure in that, on that score? Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The Honourable Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was trying to get the question on the Milimani school. I don't have that data, I don't have that information. If the honourable member could request the head teacher to write to us directly so that we can have those two head teachers, so that we can understand what the challenge is with respect to them being uploaded, so that we can then deal with it since registration has already taken place. On the school feeding program, the one that you are talking about is the arrangement between parents and the school with respect to day schools where they give money for lunch. There is no specific amount that the government says you need to pay X amount of money. But the policy is whether or not the parents pay for the school fee, that particular portion, the students should never be sent home for lack of that money or that payment of that money. That is the position. Because it's free primary, that's free primary, free secondary, that is an arrangement that is between the school and them, but you cannot send away the children because the parents have not paid for lunch.
Thank you. The Member of Parliament for Lamu East, the Honourable Captain Rueda Obo MP, to ask question number 41 of 2025.
Thank you.
Just a minute, Honourable Rueda. Honourable Simon Kingara, there is a matter not clarified.
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think I was not answered on what will happen because now the money was supposed to have come, the school was going on, there's that deficit. Is there reimbursement on the same?
Cabinet Secretary.
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, there is no provision for reimbursement because they were not in the system, so it's not possible for us to, they'll have to continue from where it was. I know it might not be fair, but that is the position. Perhaps we'll relook at that and see what else we can do under different heads to resolve that particular issue. So, yeah.
The Honourable Rueda Obo to proceed and ask a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me opportunity to ask question 041/2025 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. Could the Cabinet Secretary, 1, clarify whether secondary school in Lamu East constituency receive capitation for their repair, maintenance, and improvement of facilities in their schools? 2, provide a report on the utilization of funds by Kizingitini Secondary School in Lamu East constituency, particular to maintain the facilities in the schools. 3, state the measure taken by the ministry to ensure that maintenance and improvement of the schools property like classroom windows and doors are done with the fund provided by the ministry.
The Honourable Cabinet Secretary to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the approved capitation grant for secondary schools is 22,244 per annum. For boarding schools, this amount is supplemented by household contributions that parents pay as boarding fees, also at prescribed rates. The breakdown of this approved amount in terms of unit cost is as follows. Number 1, learning and teaching materials and exams, 4,144. Repair, maintenance and improvement, 5,000. Local travel and transport, administrative costs, electricity, water, conservancy, personal emolument, 9,400. Activity fees, 1,500. Medical and insurance, 2,000. And Simase, 200, making a total of 22,244. And you'll notice the component for repairs, maintenance, and improvement in the 22,244 is 5,000, so it is in there. The actual amount disbursed to schools every academic year, however, depends on the budget allocated by the National Assembly. The unit costs are prorated accordingly. Lamu East has 6 public secondary schools as follows: Pate Girls Secondary School, CU Secondary School, Faza Secondary School, Sheikh Msalamu Secondary School, Kizingitini Secondary School, and Kiunga Secondary School. All the 6 schools receive the free day secondary education funds, which includes the repair, maintenance, and improvement component. Part 2. Kizingitini Secondary School is situated in Kizingitini Village in Faza Division, Lamu East Sub-County. The school is a mixed-day secondary school bordering the Indian Ocean. The school is managed by a board of management led by Mr. Omar Sheyumbe. The day-to-day operations are run by Mr. James Mwema, who is the principal, assisted by Mr. Joel Moki, the deputy principal. In the year 2022-2023, the amount disbursed for infrastructure was 1.4 million. The amount budgeted for infrastructure was 1.4 million. 2023-2024, the budget was 1.5, and 2024-2025 was 1.7, making a total of 4.6. The actual amount received by the school capitation is as follows. 2022-2023, they received 3,965,812. The component for repair, maintenance, and improvement was 1,105,000. In the year 2023-2024, they received 4,559,530. The component for repairs, maintenance, and improvement was 821,750. The year 2024-25, they received 3,381,581. The component for repairs, maintenance, and improvement was 797,250. So the total component for repairs, maintenance, and improvement was 2,224,000 in those 3 years. Thus, the school received a total of 11,912,932 as capitation, from which 2.9 million was to be transferred to the infrastructure account. In addition, the school received 1.5 million from the ministry as a grant for development, and Kenya shillings 1,576,440 for CBC classrooms. Thus, the school received a total of 6,440,000 in that material period for infrastructure. However, it has been established that these funds were not utilized for infrastructure improvement alone. Instead, the funds were utilized in operations without the requisite authority from the County Director of Education. The ministry has commissioned a comprehensive investigation into the matter to inform further action. Number 3, the ministry issues guidelines to schools on the utilization of capitation, including the component on repair and maintenance as infrastructure. Through our field officers, county and sub-county directors of education, and internal audit unit, we strive to ensure that the funds are utilized in accordance with the guidelines. Instances of non-compliance are subjected to appropriate remedial action in accordance with the facts of each case. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Does Honorable Rueda Obo confirm the responses are satisfactory?
Nashukuru Bwana Spika. Majibu ni mazuri kutoka kwa waziri. Amenipatia information zaidi, lakini kuna masikitiko ni kwamba hiyo pesa kule imekuwa ni kama maintenance, ni kama inategemea tu mbunge. Ndio maana nikaleta hapa. Imekuwa kama kioo cha dirisha, au dirisha ikiharibika kitu kidogo, haifanywi na ngojea paka CDF ije ifanye repair au ifanye renovation. So in skuli nyingi sasa imekuwa huwezi kuendelea mengine mbele, wewe unaendelea mengine kujenga, pengine madarasa yanahitajika, labs zinahitajika, lakini huku walimu kama Kizingitini sahihi shule ina shida na nalaumika mbunge kwa sababu haina madirisha, upepo ni mwingi. Na madirisha yalikuweko. Sasa sisi tutakuwa kitu kidogo kiharibika paka turudi kwa CDF. Mimi nilikuwa naomba wizara iangalie mambo haya. kwa sababu inaturegesha nyuma sana. Lakini waziri, pia hapo imeonesha, wewe mwenyewe umeona, Kizingitini imepata 1.5 grant, na ambapo kuna shule zingine hapa Kenya tumeona wakipata milioni 100. Kwa hivyo angalia wewe mwenyewe katika hiyo kujibu swali lako, imeonesha hapo udhaifu na sisi vile tunavyonyanyaswa sehemu zetu, na shule zile ni maskini, huwezi kuzifananisha na shule za town. Sasa utafuta mipangilio ya kuhakikisha shule kama zile zimepata pesa ya kutosha. Kama sababu umesema katika jibu lako kwamba zimetumika kwa upande wa operation, ni ukweli, wakiandika hawana walimu. Wakiandika walimu wanatumia pengine pesa hiyo hiyo. So umeona tabu tulizonazo kwa hizi shule. Kwa hivyo ningetarajia ukija hapa wakati mwingine useme nimepeleka Kizingitini milioni 100 kama kule Alliance au na kwingine inavyopelekwa. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. I've allowed you to say that much because of where...
Wellness is important in our daily lives, so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have by regular checkup. People don't know they have hypertension. People don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of